Well, good day to you and happy New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve of 2021. And in many cases, we might say, finally. But hey, it's David here with you. And I was reflecting back a little bit before I got on camera here. And with the week's videos, I kind of shared up. One was going through and taking out what no longer serves you, out with the old, in with the new, out with what doesn't serve you, in with what does. And I was kind of reflecting back, excuse me, on that, and I realized some of the things I cut out of my life. Some more recently, some been traveling through the year. I've realized I've had to kind of curtail some relationships because there wasn't much there for me. I cut some off time with some people because when we're with relationships, you want to at least get something from somebody, at least if it's a companionship, someone to talk to, someone to hang out with, someone to be there. And I've kind of lost that some, so I've curtailed relationships. If you watch my quotes, I've done what I call inspirations. Those are the quotes that normally show up first thing in the morning. I'm cutting those out. I have done those for over 20 years. And about a month ago, I kind of realized that it's no longer fun. It became a job. It became a chore. So it's no longer serving me, so I'm letting that go. So that was one aspect. Another one we talked about is what type of legacy do you want to live? And that is either legacy for the world in general or just for your family. And in essence, that kind of brought down to the person you want to be. What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want to remember for? And that can be making some change in life. Do you want to remember something that's healthy and athletic? Do you want to be something that's made an impact on your family? Whatever that is, it could be whatever. So you got to kind of figure that one out. Going through and figuring out where do you want to go? Where are you at right now? Where does it want to go? Where's the path you want to take to? What is it you're looking forward to do in several months down the road? Excuse me. Where do you want to be from a year now? And also taking it and figuring out what do you want to be, and then reverse engineering that. Take it a step backwards. Where do you want to be at? Okay, what does that have to happen? What has to happen? And we're going to break it down to, say, 30-day blocks, and then break those down into monthly, weekly, and daily goals. Reverse engineer it. And when you get kind of all that done there, then the last thing to do is just to take action. As the title here, 3, 2, 1, action. Make your changes. And as we finish off here in the new year, now, yes, it is a new year. We get a chance to kind of reset certain things, but yet it's still just the next day. Unless you make the change, just because it's new year, nothing magical necessarily happens in your life unless you make the changes. Thinking about the quote from Jim Rohn, paraphrasing here, in order for things to change, you have to change. In order for things to get better, you have to get better. So unless you make those changes, just because it's the new year doesn't necessarily, the camera twisted. So just because it's new year doesn't necessarily means anything's going to change unless you do. You have to make the changes, make the adjustments. And that's what taking the action does. And it's also remembering that you can make those changes at any time. It doesn't have to be the start of the new year. It doesn't have to be on Monday, the start of a work week. You can make the changes anytime. You go through, you work things out, you stumble up, realize, okay, this isn't working for you. You readjust, keep going again. You make a mistake, you blew off your week, your new healthy eating for a day, you start up again the next day. You start up again the next meal. And it's also learning to have a plan. Incremental steps as well, because I mentioned, I think it was yesterday's video, where a lot of people go through and they just make too many changes at one time. They're going to start eating healthy, they're going to start exercising, they're just going to drinking all water, they're going to start meditating, and just overwhelms themselves, gets to be too much, and they stop. Little bits at a time, baby steps. What can you do? And that's one of the things it's about here. I found out, it took me 15 years to figure it out. I've been doing it for that long, but to put together is what I call balancing the triad. I've been taking care and improving my health, my wellness, my fitness by working on my body, mind, and spirit. Balancing the triad. So that's what I share up here. I want to give you some ideas so that you can do this. What are some tips and tricks you can do? And realize there's not just one way to do it. You don't have to follow this strict thing. A lot of times we get the blinders on, we got to do this. Now there are places for that. But it's not a cookie cutter routine. It's not a one size fits all. You have to figure out what works for you, what fits into your life. And there might be some things you got to take, okay, I like this part of this diet over here, but I can't quite do it all the time. So let me take this part. Let me take this one here. What works for you? And I got one of the handouts I was given for my coaching certification was there's a list of 150 diets, pros and cons for them. And each one has some type of con. A lot of the cons have to be so strict it makes it difficult to follow. But that's just talking. But overall, you got to figure out what changes you want to make and reach out and get help if you need to. There are books, there's seminars, there's classes, there's coaches, which I'll be offering some beta testing here coming up in the next, hopefully month or so. Substantial discount on the coaching. And you got to be wary what's out there because you got a lot of crap out there as well. But bottom line is, figure out what it is you want, and you got to take some time. You don't have to do it all at once if you don't have the ability. Maybe spend a little bit today. Make some notes down in your phone. Excuse me. Since it actually is, if you got the weekend off, go through and spend some time to figure it out. Write things down. What is it you want to do? Where do you want to go with it? How are you going to go about it? If you need some help, reach out and get some help. And that's why I got the training in my Facebook group. It's free. I got some other stuff in there for you to consider too. But there's a link to the description. It's giving you kind of step-by-step routine to help you get started. It's not a be-all, end-all. It's just something to give you guidelines to get you started. Then you play with it and tweak it from there. But overall, take some time to figure out what are the changes you want to make for the new year. Your body, your mind, and your spirit. What are the adjustments you make? What changes you want to improve? And it's celebrating where you're at and realizing you can move on and get better at the same time. Doing both those together. There's nothing wrong with celebrating where you're at. That's one thing you got to do. You got to celebrate where you're at and go from there. Don't put yourself down and say, well, I'm not there. I haven't reached it yet. No, celebrate. Celebrate your acknowledge it and then go from there. All right. So hopefully that's all made sense for you. And you're going to have yourself a wonderful start to the new year. No matter what happens, realize it's starting of the year. Yes, it's a fresh start. At the same time, it's just the next day. So do that both hands. Take it as realize a fresh start for another 365 days. And at the same time, realize, okay, if I don't start tomorrow, I can start the next day. But don't keep putting it off. Set yourself a deadline and go for it. All right, so that's what I got to you. Have yourself a wonderful start to 2022. And we will catch you on Monday. So take care and balance into you. Bye-bye.